Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you another found footage review. Today, I'm taking a look at the 2013 found footage film, The Borneo Incident. The film is written and directed by Michael Helfman, who also stars in the film alongside Henry Golding, Robert Gilland, and Mitch Ross. Right, okay, the film follows a group of friends, five friends, who travel from New York to Malaysia, Borneo in Malaysia, to essentially one of them in their friend group, Henry, played by Henry Golding, has got family roots out there that he's never explored. So he's going on a journey of discovery to try and meet some of his long distant relatives. So they get there, they enjoy a brilliant holiday all over kind of Malaysia and Indonesia, that type of stuff. And then when they start getting into the deep jungle to go and meet some of the tribes associated with some of his family, things start turning very, very sinister very, very quickly, and they are left to kind of fend for themselves in between two warring tribes. Right, what are my thoughts on the Borneo incident? Well, I'd never heard of this one. This is another one that was new to me, is on my recommended list, and that's a very long list these days. But when I kind of looked into this one, I could see that this one had Henry Golding in it. If you don't know who that is, he's done quite a few Guy Ritchie films now. He's even been spoken about as being in the running for the next Bond. So it's an early outing for him, really. So I'm always quite interested to check out early films in people's filmography. And as a found footage film, this kind of ticks a lot of boxes. It follows the format fairly closely. It doesn't play around with it at all. It does everything by the numbers, ticks a lot of boxes. You get the meeting of the friends. You get them going over there on the plane, enjoying a big chunk of the holiday, having fun, jumping off waterfalls, getting drunk, having, drugs, all that kind of stuff. You get to see lots and lots of that. The idea is that you get to know the characters, and you've got one of them that's filming it all for, posterity, I suppose, and then it bubbles along, and then, it starts getting more and more sinister as they get deeper into the culture and deeper into the jungles, they get far too trusting, and it costs them, basically. And that's kind of where the horror comes from by the end of the film. The fact that the scenario that they're in, they haven't got a clue what they're doing, they've been abandoned, and it's quite clear that they're in a lot of danger. Now, that's all fine and dandy. I think why this one didn't win me over massively, I do think, like I say, it follows the formula fairly closely for found footage, and it doesn't really do a great deal wrong. It just doesn't scare you enough. There's too much, like the first half of this film, maybe more, it just feels like you're watching somebody's holiday videos. You've gone to their house for a meal, and they're like, "Oh, look at this holiday we went to," and they show it up on the screen, and you sat there for an hour watching their holiday unfold in front of your eyes, thinking, "I don't really give a monkeys about this," and there's too much of that here. I know why they're doing it. They want to try and introduce you to the characters, and they smartly name the characters after the real actors' names. So Henry Golding's character is Henry. Michael Helfman, who's the writer and director, he's called Mike in the film. Robert Gilland, who's one of the characters, one of the actors, is called Rob, so on and so forth. So it obviously makes them feel a little bit more familiar and a bit more natural. And the film did feel very natural. it didn't feel forced, any of the acting or anything like that, which is a killer blow for any found footage. If you don't believe the performances, it's a killer blow. And it does feel very natural. And in some ways, it's a compliment that it does feel like you're watching someone's holiday. It's just not exciting stuff. So you do check out a couple of times mentally because you're not that interested. Now, for me, a good found footage film, or one that is, going into the very good range, like, above average into good, they will play around with you psychologically in them moments where you think you're watching like holiday videos. You'll spot someone stalking him in the background, or you'll see something sinister happen, or or you'll be checking the screen to see if there's something going to happen, and that means they've got you. They've got your full attention. This one doesn't do that. It's not able to do that. But the ending, the conclusion of the film, the last 15 minutes, which is what everybody wants from found footage, is absolutely manic. Charging around in the dark, screaming, screaming bloody murder. But it's also quite confused, the ending, in a sense of there are some characters that start going missing, but you can't just place who they are, and when they went missing and why. I don't know. It's like some of the characters aren't registering how serious this is, and some of them are kind of said, "It's all right, we'll find them, and it's quite clear that they're in a lot of trouble. And then the last bit is fully pitch black, fully dark, and then it's all going a bit mad, mental. People dropping left, right, and centre, and you're kind of like, "What's happening?" So it's kind of ticking that box at the end in regards to found footage, but it isn't kind of giving you clarity as to what's going on. So this isn't too far off what you want a found footage film to be, in my opinion. They've made some errors. They've not really got the hooks into you early, so therefore it can be quite a dull watch for the first half of the film, if not a little bit longer. Unless you're really into the characters, but I personally never really got that from this film. But it's not a complete and utter waste of time either. So if you are a steadfast fan of found footage, then you will probably find some bits and pieces in here to enjoy if you've never seen it before and you want to kind of tick it off your list, then give it a go. And I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.